hose hooked up to a piece of ABS pipe. I give the wave to the corner workers because
you're nice. You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Yeah. That hose is coming off like the B pillar. There's a scoop, and then it loops back around to you. And did it work?
Yeah. There's a Macaduct. The race has started. Third gear is a good way to start that race. There's a Macaduct duct.
Yeah.
Which is in the window. It's in the window like you see the windows of NASCARs. And they got a flex hose hooked up to it. And yes, at a certain point in the race, if you watch, and it depends how deep we go in this, you'll see me lift my right hand and wave it in front of that thing just to feel if I can feel anything coming out of there.
Oh, yeah. Also, your right hand's probably frying because of the shifter. Although next time we're going to remove it from your head and point it at the phone so the phone stays alive and then you just heat up.
Yeah. So there's a Ginetta out there. There's a 914.6. There's another Olds Cutlass.
Quickly describe the Fontana course because it's not as easy as like we can look up what Laguna Seca looks like and you can see the track. What does Laguna look like? Or Fontana.
Fontana has a long straightaway in the front and then a very long bank, which is a kind of a let's see how bad you want it bank, which is like are you going to stay flat on this? There's no way in that car, the first time in that car, I was going to stay flat. I don't think anyone stays flat in those higher horsepower cars on that bank. It feels like it's just the walls beckoning, you know.
So you're
in
running...
the little cars, in the little cars with the lower horsepower, you can kind of just stay full throttle all the way through it.
Okay.
Even that feels hairy. But you're going 125, 128 or something like this. But at 145, it feels like it's sucking you up into the wall. So you go around the long straight as we're getting on now.
Up on the bank. Now you're running like roughly half the oval at Fontana, right?
Yeah, I'd say, you hear fifth gear, it sounds the same as fourth gear on that car coming up on a 916. And you go all the way around the bank, and then you go along a straightaway that's probably several hundred feet, and then it's time to turn in and go into the infield. And that's a second gear turn, so you could really scrub it off here, speed-wise, and then turn in to the infield. Once you get into the infield, there's a series. Now there's no banking or camber or anything. It's just flat.
Yeah, the infield's flat. So when you're doing that 140 mile an hour oval and you're dropping down to, 35, 40 to get into that turn, that's when you get to feel the new brakes. You're like, how are those working?
Yeah, they worked good. They weren't exceptional. They just felt positive and strong and so on and so forth. And there's a straightaway with a kink in it and a weird turn. It's a weird that I've never really mastered. This turn that we're turning right on right now is kind of a weird turn. And then you go down a long straight, has a little bit of a chicane in it, but you can kind of go straight through it if you do it right. Yeah. You go under a bridge, and then you go into another series of turns. And when you come out of those turns, at some point everyone's knocked over the cones. And when they knock over all the cones, you have to make a decision. Do you go on the course or do you go in between the cones where they were knocked over? And sometimes you find yourself going inside because the cones got knocked outside. I pride myself on maybe never knocking over a cone, but every other guy's knocked over those cones every race, wherever you go. And see how fifth sounds the same as fourth?
Yeah.
These cars confound me a little bit, which is this. First off, the world's longest first gear, which is completely unnecessary. Like, I don't need a first gear that I can go 80 miles an hour in. It's just to get me from the pit and out onto the track.
Yeah.
So super long first gear, and you're like, it's like, it doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah, and it's not like you're starting from a dead stop like a drag race at the beginning.
No, and here's me having trouble shifting. And listen, again, to all the haters, that stick shift was not only hotter than shit, but it was not movable.
It's really binding up. You can see it in your lower gears. Your fourth to fifth shift is more in line. It looks like it's a little bit easier. I just think the angle of the shifter and that linkage.
Yes. It's completely freed up, but it was completely fucked up then. And I find myself kind of catching up this 914.6. Now, you got to keep in mind, too, these guys have one car. They drive their one car. And these cars become like blue jeans. Like, you work them in. Like, you find everybody, if you put your head in everyone's car has their own thing. Like, the one guy, Brody, who's ahead of me right now in the Cutlass, he has a big thing on his dash that says, in a Sharpie on a piece of white tape, earplugs, because obviously he forgets to put his earplugs on out there. And I have my shift pattern, up there in bold because I'll forget the shift pattern. And by the way, that shifting was so hard, I wouldn't know what gear where I was on that thing. But anyway, you get in these cars and you learn. You learn the seating position. You learn the steering wheel position. You learn I took the fucking steering wheel off and repositioned it in the warm-up lap.
Up on the bank.
In the actual race, Max Bada, you will have footage. If you look at the Sunday race, you will see footage at the beginning after I come off the bank and come around the corner and stuff before I start racing of literally removing the steering wheel.
Oh, I do. I've seen that.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know what's going on with the 914 and the Cutlass, but this is me going, okay, now I can catch both these guys, or I seem to have caught up to both these guys. And again, the car, you really want to dial in and make your own, and these guys have dialed them in and do make them their own, except for I'm the idiot who jumps from car to car to car, never really dialing it in, which makes it easier to jump from car to car to car, but
it's got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, so now here's the mistake I make. I pass the Cutlass, I smell the 914. I smell it. Like, I got this guy. I got this guy.
Yep.
And too much heat. Had the guy.
So close.
Here's the super long first gear. The unnecessarily
little
long
off-roading.
First gear.
Just go around that cone. Don't want to knock that down.
For some reason, if the dust fucking...
Keep it in the dirt. You swat the dust away. Just a little off-roading, and then you're back in the game.
All right, we got it. Anyway, you can watch the video at CarCast.
CarCastShow.com.
Yeah, there you go.